What's going on, guys, and welcome to Who to Sign For. Now in this series I'm giving you my recommendations on what players to sign for a specific team in career mode, but before we go on I will say that the signings you'll see aren't designed to be realistic, and I can't stress that enough, and the player ratings and potentials of the players may vary depending on what database you're using and how they perform for you during the season. Obviously you don't have to follow all the tips, this is really just a set of guidelines to give you a hand if you're stuck for ideas and want some suggestions on what players you could sign for a certain club. This is mainly aimed at those who are out there who are new to the game and just need a little bit of advice, or for those who are out there who just want a few recommendations on what players to sign for a team that you may be using in career mode this year. So yes, in today's episode of Who to Sign For, guys, we are going to take a look at Brentford, who of course tonight are playing Fulham in the Championship playoff final in an all-London derby there at Wembley. And Brentford, you know, I've got to say straight away, they are one of the best teams you can use for a Championship team in FIFA 20 career mode this year. Now they are a 3.5-star team. They started with a budget of around £11 million once you adjust it due to the fact you always give them a really generous wage budget in FIFA career mode. So it's around £11 million budget in the first season with the team in the second tier of England, and their objectives in the first season are to gain automatic promotion and reach the last 32 of the FA Cup. Now both those objectives are definitely doable, because you take a look at the team right here, it is a 3.5-star team, and one of the big benefits to managing Brentford is that it's a really young team. It's not just one of the best teams in the Championship, but it's one of the youngest teams in the Championship. Their starting 11 is full of players that are in their early to mid-20s primarily, and again with around £11 million in the budget as well, a little bit of money to work with, bring in new signings as well. There aren't really any negatives to this Brentford team. As I run you through the squad here in the squad hub, there are only 3 players with their deals up come the end of the year, 2 of which are in their mid to late 20s and not good enough for the first 11 anyway, and the other player is a young player that has very limited potential. So you've got no real contract issues in the first season with Brentford. There's nobody loaned in at the club who you'll be losing next season, and there's only one player that's loaned out. That's a young centre-back playing for AFC Wimbledon. So strictly speaking, like, the club is really well run, and it's set up perfectly for a FIFA career mode right from the very get-go. So I would recommend putting a couple of those players on the transfer list there. Those are the players that again are having their deals that come the end of the year. The striker you won't actually be able to sell in the first season because he's a new player to the club, so if you want to get rid of him you'd have to swap him out, otherwise let his contract run down and let him go on a free transfer come the end of the season. The other player is Makocho, a 70 rated 28-year-old central midfielder who isn't good enough to be in your first team, so I'd recommend selling him, swapping the striker out if you wish to do so, or just keeping him as a third choice option and then letting him go come the end of the season once his contract runs down. And ultimately, that's all you really need to do in terms of selling players with Brentford in the very first season. Again, when you look at the team they've got, it is such a young team. It is such a good team as well. Again, Brentford are like the perfect team to use for a FIFA career mode when you want to start off in the second tier, begin in the Championship for a nice RTG. The young talent they got is great. Again, it's one of the best teams in the Championship anyway. It's a really fun team to use, and certainly one I recommend for anyone out there that wants to do a Championship career mode. So we sold Makocho, the central midfielder, to Independiente, I think it was, for 1.5 mil. And as you can see here with Brentford, with the new signings to the team, I showed you the team a moment ago there. It's a 4-3-3 they line up in. You don't really need to have that much improvement to it, because again, it's good enough in the first season already to gain automatic promotion, as it is one of the strongest sides in the Championship. However, the one position I would recommend strengthening is the right back role. Right now, the oldest player in their starting 11 is their right back. That's Dalsgaard. He's 29 years old. He's not a bad player at all at 72 rated. However, you can get better and you can get younger. There are 3 recommendations I'll give you. There's Matty Cash of Nottingham Forest, Max Aarons of Norwich City, and also Jayden Bogle of Derby County. My number 1 target out of the 3 would be Max Aarons. He starts off 1 rating higher than Dalsgaard at 73 overall, and he's 10 years younger at just 19 years old. Norwich will let him go for around his valuation as well. We paid £5.75 million to get him, which is a $250,000 over his current starting market valuation, and a little sell-on clause as well. But the guy's on a really cheap wage. Again, he's still a teenager. He's rapid. He's got great agility, great stamina, good when going forward and when defending at the back as well. And again, he's one rating higher than Dallas Guard, who will replace, and he's also 10 years younger with 85 potential as well. So Aaron's definitely my number one recommendation for a Brentford career mode, and he and Rico Henry as two young English fullbacks slash wingbacks in this Brentford team, both really good when going forward with high attacking work rates. They are great options to have in the fullback role. So Aaron's definitely my number one target there. There's a new starting right back to improve your back four, both for now and for the future as well. As for other new signings as well, you'd still have a little bit more money after signing Max Aarons, because again, you can get him for just over his valuation. I would recommend a new central midfielder with Brentford as well. Of course, we sold the 28-year-old just a moment ago there, and I recommend two players to fill in this role. Two creative-based players. You've got Joe Willock of Arsenal, who is 19 years old and 71 rated, and Morgan Gibbs-White of Wolves, who is also the same age and rating as well. Now, Willock, I believe, has 85 potential and Gibbs-White has 84 potential, but really, they're both very similar players. They're both the same age, both the same starting overall as well, and they'll cost you around the same fee as well. You can get them both for around valuation. In the end, I opted to go for Gibbs-White over Willock, just because I wanted to make another new sign to this team as well, and wanted the best value for money deal. But again, the contracts they're on, they won't be too pricey. I put Gibbs-White on a 5-year deal, 20 grand a week, and again, this guy, 19 years old, 71 rated, with 84 potential as well. Another great young English talent for this Brentford team. Really, though, it's personal preference. Willock or Gibbs-White will be my two main targets for the centre midfield role. It's up to you who you'd prefer. Willock physically is the better player. He's got high work rates, really great balanced physical stats as well. But Gibbs-White, to me, looks like a really great creative player as well. Ultimately, just personal preference. He's got 4-star skill moves. I really like that as well. And the flair trait too. It's up to you who you go with there. Again, it'll cost you around the same fee. They both start off the same rating, both the same age. Willock does have one rating higher for potential, but really, they're both very similar players. So Gibbs-White in alongside Max Aarons as well as our two new signings here, two great young English talents to join the young talent we've already got here at Brentford. And the final bit of business I did, well, the two final bit of business I did here was selling Julien Janvier, who is a 26-year-old centre-back here at Brentford. He's 70 rated. I don't believe he gets any better than 71, 72 potential at a stretch. So personally speaking, in his mid-20s right now, I would recommend selling him if you can do so for around £2 to £2.3 million if you can get that. We sold him to, I think it was Nacional, who we went to in Argentina, for £2.3 million, and once we made that sale there with a little bit of cash remaining after the signings of Max Aarons and also Gibbs-White as well, we had just about enough money to make one final signing with this Brentford team. And as you can see, after selling Janvier, the third choice centre-back here, I did opt for a new starting centre-back with this Brentford team with around £4 to £4.75 million remaining in the budget. And the two options I had on my shortlist here, again, no surprise, two young English talents. Ben Godfrey of Norwich City and Dale Fry of Middlesbrough. The advantage to Fry is that he's taller and can also play right back as well to fill in for cover, but for Godfrey's sake, I think he's the best out of the two options here. Again, just like with Gibbs-White and Willock, these two players are the exact same age, have the exact same starting overall as well, so really it's personal preference. However, I believe Godfrey has one rating higher for potential. He starts off 72 rated, but he gets to 83 potential, and you can get him for around his valuation as well, just like the previous two signings. His wages are very low too, and again, just 21 years old, 72 rated. He's going to slide right into your first 11, improve your backline, and again, be a great young talent for the future. So really with Brentford, that's all you need to do in the first transfer window, man. This club does not need a major overhaul because it's already on the right path. It's got tons of young talent. It's got really good players now and for the future as well. And again, all you really need to do is sell a couple of the more aging players here, reduce the average age a little bit further, bring in some good young talent to add to the talent you've got already, and you've made this Brentford team better for now and for the future as well. So Godfrey is my final sign in there. He will join Max Aarons as former Norwich youngsters in the back four, and you've got Morgan Gibbs-White who can play in the starting 11 in De Silva's place, or having come off the bench in the first season. Totally up to you. And again, this is why Brentford are such a perfect FIFA career mode team, because you don't need to do much in the very first season. You don't need a major transition. You just need to to make a little tweak here and there to make them even better for now and for the future. We only sold 2 players and we raised 3.8 million for them, and we only signed 3 players spending just over 14 mil. We had a net loss of 10.25 million, but again, 3 great young English talents coming in Ben Godfrey, Max Aarons and Morgan Gibbs-White as well. That's all you need to do in the first transfer window with Brentford. The groundwork is already laid down for you. Just bring a couple more youngsters and you've already got a great team, which is good enough now to go up in the first season. And again, it's going to look really, really great as the years go by with a really nice English core. So as per usual, we would simulate to the end of the season and see how we got on. And as you can see, we did smash our league objective by gaining automatic promotion, which again isn't a real surprise at all. With this Brentford team being 3.5 stars, it is one of the strongest teams in the division. And once again, what you got to remember is because they are such a young team, in the first season and during the first season, they're going to get better than they already are right now. Because again, the average age of the first 11 players is in the early 20s. So you're going to get a better team at the end of the first season than the one you had at the start in terms of player ratings. Because again, the team is just so young. So going up in the first season is a mandatory requirement. You might be a bit concerned because the Championship is, as we know, a very competitive division. But really, this Brentford team is more than good enough to gain promotion in the first season. If you can't do it automatically, then at the bare minimum, you should be going up via the playoffs, which again, in real life, they got a chance to do tonight against Fulham at Wembley. It is more than good enough to gain promotion in the first season. And again, it just gets better as the season goes by due to how young it is. So we hit our league objective by gaining promotion, winning the Championship, and we hit our cup objective as well of reaching around a 32, being knocked out by the Premier League side Burnley at Griffin Park. So no shame in going out there against a top tier team. And we were knocked out early in the Carabao Cup as well by the eventual finalist Crystal Palace, but that doesn't count towards the objectives. But either way, hit both the league and the FA Cup objective. And again, as I run you through the team here, take a look at the overall change when I show you the attribute changes for Godfrey, for Aarons and for Gibbs-White as well. Look at all of the players here increasing their ratings in the very first season. When you took a look at the team at the start of the season, a 3.5 star team, it already looked really good and good enough to go up automatically in the first season. It looks even better now at the end of just one season because it is just so young. It is the perfect team to use for a Championship RTG in FIFA Career Mode this year due to the average age of the side being so young. You got such fun players as well, like Benrahma and Mbuemo, the wingers. Ollie Watkins, who I'll always have a soft spot for, as he was a Nottingham Forest legend in my last career mode. It's a really fun team. It is so young, and again, it's the perfect team to use for a FIFA 20 career mode starting off in the Championship. They've got some great kits. Being a London team means you'll have loads of rivalries throughout the course of your save as well. And as well, as we know, they'll be looking to move into a new stadium in a year's time as well. So if you want to start off the game and give them a better stadium as well, that you can do for realism's sake as well. It's a fun team. I would definitely say out of all the teams in the Championship, they're the best team to use for an RTG and a fun one as well. Really great side to use with all the young talent, and again, a lot of great rivalries being a London team as well. But that was this episode of Who to Sign For, guys. So a big thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed it, and if you did enjoy today's episode, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode of Who to Sign For very soon.